Lately, I've been using the strange and forgotten Generation 2 Pokemon like Qwilfish and Stantler. But today, I'm going to be using two of the most awesome and well-loved Generation 2 Pokemon, Steelix and Scizor. These are honestly probably my favorite Generation 2 Pokemon of them all. They're intimidating and seriously great upgrades to their original forms in terms of design. I just wish they were a bit easier to obtain in a regular playthrough. You acquire a metal coat through regular gameplay only after you've defeated the League. The only other way of finding one is by catching Wild Magnemite, and they only have a 2% chance to be holding one. When these games were released on the Virtual Console, I caught a Scizor in the bug catching contest, and then proceeded to invest a couple days of playtime in finding a Magnemite with a metal coat so I could have a Scizor for my playthrough. It was worth it. Scizor is the faster, more offensively capable Pokemon, while Steelix is the slower defensive tank. Look at its 200 base defense. Unfortunately though, it gets no stab moves through level up, while Scizor gets Metal Claw. The TM and HM list expands their capabilities dramatically. Steelix gets Headbutt, Iron Tail, Earthquake, Return, Dig, Mudslap, and Rest. Scizor gets Headbutt, Return, Swift, Steel Wing, and Fury Cutter. Typing is also important here. Steelix has 4 weaknesses in Fighting, Ground, Fire, and Water, with all of them being 2x weaknesses. Scizor only has 1 weakness, a 4x weakness to Fire. So Scizor has better offensive stats and type effectiveness, while Steelix has a more diverse move pool. If you enjoy my content, like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment for the algorithm, grab a dome fossil, and share this video with a friend. Let's get into it. Here's the rules for this versus video. The Pokemon that defeats Red with the fastest time wins 1 point. The Pokemon that defeats Red with the lowest level wins the 2nd point. If it's necessary to break a tie, a 3rd point will be given to the Pokemon that had the greatest ease with the Elite Four. I'll only use the challenge Pokemon in battle. I won't use any items in battle, including held items. Many of you have asked why I do this. Johto is already very easy. I'll start using these items in Generation 3 and beyond, when I get to those videos. I won't use any glitches or exploits. For this challenge, I'm going to reset for a decent Steelix and Scizor. I don't want one winning just because the other has poor DVs. I replaced Chikorita with the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, so the rival will pick a Fire Pokemon. Here's the 2 Pokemon that I find and decide to keep in the end. The first rival fight isn't an issue since Cyndaquil doesn't know any fire moves. Obviously, Scizor is getting very ahead by this point, so let's address that. Steelix needs to train as much as possible in the early game. The reason why is going to become apparent very soon. With Scizor, this isn't necessary. This is because our typing is just better in the early game. I run into Bellsprout outside of Violet City on my first encounter with it. By the way, the reason I catch Bellsprout before Violet City is because they actually don't appear in Sprout Tower. Yeah, no Bellsprout appear in the place named after them. You can also catch one on Route 36 after you beat Faulkner. The encounter rate there is the same, so it doesn't matter where you catch it. Moving on. Because Scizor is a Bug Steel type, it shreds through the sages in the tower. It resists all of these grass or normal type attacks. By the way, the encounters in here are quite rare, and only Ghastly and Rattata can appear. Time to bring back Rattata, by the way. So many people in the comments said they mispronounced it like this as a kid, so I'm really glad that I wasn't alone. Rattata forever. Scizor's bug typing is a big asset against Faulkner. Mudslap is super effective against Steel, but Bug resists it, so he's only going to be able to deal neutral damage with this annoying move. That has implications for the AI. While the Pidgey is going to spam it because it doesn't have any stab moves, the Pidgeotto is going to think that Gust will deal more damage due to higher base power, neutral effectiveness, and the stab modifier. Because of this, Scizor is going to avoid the pain of being spammed into accuracy oblivion, and it can easily defeat Faulkner and receive the first badge at 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Steelix finally reaches Faulkner. I'm level 13, so I didn't end up training quite as much as I wanted. Ideally, I would have bumped into just enough wild Pokemon and trainers to be level 14 and no Rock Throw. That would have helped me knock his birds out with super effective hits. Mud Slap is also going to be super effective against Steelix. It will do decent damage considering that I have 200 base defense, and my accuracy will almost certainly get lowered each turn. At this level, Steelix can outspeed and 2-hit the first Pidgey. Only one accuracy drop during that fight. The Pidgeotto also knows Mud Slap though, and it's gonna spam it because the AI knows it's super effective. I set up a Screech early on so that when I finally hit, I'm gonna be doing decent damage. Then I start to use Tackle and Hope. The high level provides Steelix with a good health buffer so that I can play the slots here for longer. In Generation 2, the AI does run out of PP, so at some point it's going to start using Gust and deal only 1 damage each turn to me. However, I get lucky before this even happens and I knock it out. Faulkner gives me Mud Slap, and this is my first stab move. It helps with the Hiker in Union Cave, so this fight isn't too much of a chore. I save in front of Hiker Anthony because he has a Machop with low kick. I don't want to take any chances on this one and get messed up. I've got to play safe here. Slowpoke's well is easy and provides some needed experience. By the way, I just wanted to say that some of you in the Stantler video comments are complete monsters. Teriyaki flavored Slowpoke tails? Who are you? I defeat all the trainers in this portion of the game and then take on all the trainers in Bugsy's gym. I really want to be the highest possible level. Bugsy is next. Because Steelix knows Rock Throw, all of his Pokemon are trivial. So maybe you're wondering why I was so concerned and attempting to overlevel so much in the early game. Number 1, Faulkner. Mud Slap can seriously mess up Steelix. Number 2, the rival's Quilava. It knows Ember and it's going to outspeed me. This means that at least 2 hits are going to land and Steelix needs to be able to survive them or knock it out in a single hit, which is very unlikely. I've learned from all my previous races that failed attempts at fights put you further behind than simply investing a bit more time in training first. If you train, you get a higher level and the victory at a similar time. If you attempt over and over, you get none of those levels, and you typically end up with a slight disadvantage from a time perspective. Ghastly outspeeds Steelix and immediately puts us to sleep. It can't do any damage to us really though, because it only knows Lick, so it's doing 1 HP of damage every turn. I wake up and I knock it out with Mud Slap. Zubat is next. It confuses Steelix. Ideally, I'd like to get through this with as much health as possible. I need to be able to tank Ember. I lose around 1/6 health to Confusion and the Zubat, and then I knock it out. Quilava comes out and it doesn't use Ember. It goes for Smokescreen instead. This thing knows what I hate. That gives me an opportunity to attack with Mud Slap. It survives and uses Ember. Because of my level, I survive and knock it out. Now I get access to Headbutt. This is a big upgrade over Tackle. In Goldenrod, it's time to face Whitney. My expectation of this fight was that it's going to be extremely easy. Steelix is, well, a Steel type and it resists normal attacks. It also has 200 base defense. Clefairy is simple to knock out, and then Miltank comes out. It immediately flinches me. After that, I realize that I'm not really doing much damage to it. Okay, it's time to get cheesy. So I set up a bunch of Mud Slaps, and then Whitney catches wind of the cheese strats and begins to use Milk Drink and stall Steelix out. As it heals each turn, I'm watching my PP slowly deplete, and then the question crossed my mind. Did I make a mistake? Should have I leveled more before this fight? In Generation 2, the AI has PP though, so I deplete all of Milk Drinks and then I've got it on the run. But Steelix is also getting low on health. For some reason, Stomp just seems to always hit, despite being at -6 stages of accuracy. Finally, I managed to land the final blow and Miltank faints. I'm going to be doing the Bovine Brawl soon in Generation 2. With the 3rd gym out of the way, Steelix can grab the TM for Dig. On the way north, I battle a lot of the trainers. Morty is going to be tough, and Chuck is the leader that I'm most scared of in all of Johto. With Dig on my moveset, I one-hit the Sudowoodo and take on the Kimono Girls. If levels are key, the ordering here in Ecruteak City should be Kimono Girls, Gym Trainers, Rival, and then Morty, with an optional trip to do the Lighthouse in between if a lot of levels are required. The Rival opens with Haunter, and it immediately curses me. Steelix does have a great moveset here though. Dig can take the Quilava down, I can one-shot the Zubat with Rock Throw. Finally, I can Mudslap the Magnemite into oblivion since it has a 4x weakness to ground moves. By the way, people have asked why I choose to do this fight. I think that Johto is significantly easier than Kanto, so in order to introduce some drama and some interest, I choose to do this rival fight on each playthrough. Morty opens with Ghastly. I go for Dig because I'm not sure if Mudslap will knock it out. In retrospect, this was a bad choice. If I used Mudslap, Ghastly would feint itself with Curse, and I would proceed avoiding damage. So I get cursed, and then the fight spirals out of control. I manage the Gengar, but Haunter stops Steelix. On my second fight against him, I use Mudslap, and it does manage to take the Ghastly out in a single hit. After that, I use Dig against the Gengar, and it goes down. With that out of the way, all that's left is cleanup. Steelix finishes the 4th gym, with a time of 44 minutes and 8 seconds. Let's go back to Scizor now. Its first major challenge is coming up in Azalea Town. The rival has Quilava, and it has a 4x effective Ember. In Union Cave, I accidentally bump into a hiker that I didn't need to fight, but Scizor can just use Pursuit against his Onix. In Generation 2, Dark type is a special typing, so it pairs up well against Onix's low special stat. On the bottom floor of the cave, I pick up the TM for Swift, which increases Scizor's base power and reliability. This is going to be great against Quilava, especially if it decides to use Smokescreen. Bugsy is next. While I don't have moves that are super effective against his Pokemon, Scizor's typing makes this fight a breeze. My prize for beating Bugsy is the TM for Fury Cutter, and in this generation, it's Scizor's only stab bug move. Here's how it works. Its power is doubled with each hit that lands in succession. However, if you stop using it and use a different move instead, the power will reset. It's rival time now. He leads with Ghastly. Pursuit is super effective, but just doesn't quite get the job done. Scizor doesn't have amazing special after all. It puts me to sleep, but can only deal 1 damage at a time again with Lick. I'd have to get seriously unlucky here to actually lose. I wake up and knock it out with ease. Quilava is next. Moment of truth. I outspeed and deal just over half damage with Swift. It uses Smokescreen, and that means that I've done it. I finish the Quilava and Zubat off. I wasn't nearly as scared for this fight with Scizor as I was with Steelix. Speed really matters in a fight like this. While Scizor grabs Headbutt, I'll mention something that I learned in the comments of my Quillfish video that I didn't actually mention in my Stantler video. By the way, check out those videos if you haven't seen them already. Anyways, back to what I learned. Everyone said that I can just call my mom and tell her to stop saving my money, but if I did just call her and stop her from saving my money, how could I make a cringy joke about the situation? Whitney is next, and I made a silly mistake in the first fight. I forget to start using Fury Cutter on Clefairy, and so Miltank takes me out with Rollout. On the second fight, I correct this mistake. By the time I reach Miltank, Fury Cutter is dealing so much damage, it almost one-hits this terrifying cow. I've got to remember that this fight always must include some kind of cheesy strat. After all, Miltank produces the ingredients for that. I can't believe that I uttered that joke. I'm really milking this Miltank for all I can get out of it. Thanks to everyone in the comments for helping me out with these awesome jokes. Don't blame me, blame yourselves. Moving on. I bump into the Magmar trainer north of Goldenrod. Luckily, he's easy to take care of. After that, it's Ecruteak City time. Kimono Girls and Gym Trainers first. Then I take on the rival. Scizor can't knock the Haunter out immediately, and it gets to set up Curse. Quilava is next. Headbutt doesn't knock it out, and Ember lands a critical hit and makes quick work of my Robot Beetle. I'm heading west. I'll come back here after the Lighthouse is finished and Scizor's gained a few more levels. The next 3 moves that it learns are actually really great. Metal Claw, it's the first stab move that can hit the ghosts for neutral damage, and then after that, Slash and Swords Dance. Critical hits are also not bugged in this generation, so they don't ignore your positive stat boosts like in Generation 1. Slash and Swords Dance are going to be a fun pair. Additionally, I want to mention that I'm unofficially banning Double Team. I'm sure you can assume why, but I will go into that in detail on an upcoming video. I return to Ecruteak and Scizor claws its way through the rival's Haunter. Quilava still survives Headbutt, but it flinches. The Magnemite resists everything on my moveset, even Dark in this generation, so I just use Headbutt and take it out in 2 hits. In retrospect, Metal Claw would have been a better choice, as it has a 10% chance to increase my attack stat. Oh well. Morty is next. Access to Metal Claw is exactly what I needed. It takes care of his first 2 Pokemon in a single hit. Gengar does end up surviving, but it uses Mean Look. I'm not going to be switching anyways, Morty, but thanks so much for letting me get through this fight with ease. This certainly benefits Scizor's time. Let's compare how these 2 runs are going so far. At this stage, the 2 are neck and neck. Scizor only leads by 1 minute and 5 seconds. But it's important to remember that Scizor has completed the Lighthouse, which widens its lead. Additionally, Scizor is going to fare significantly better against Chuck, who's coming up next. Steelix could be in some trouble now. Chuck's Poliwrath knows Dynamic Punch and Surf. Also, it's faster than us and has Hypnosis. I'm genuinely not looking forward to this gym. If a different gym unlocked Fly, this would be less annoying, but if I have to skip Chuck and do Jasmine and Price first, a lot of time is going to be added to the run just walking back and forth between all of these cities. As I'm progressing through the Lighthouse and training for Chuck, I run into this trainer. His name is Dennis. I just wanted to say that our good friend Birdcatcher Dennis is a serious algorithm hero. Look at his commitment. So I have a huge favor to ask of everyone. Let's put Dennis in the comments as many times as is humanly possible to say thanks to him. He really deserves it. Thanks for helping this channel out so much, Dennis. On my way across the sea, I fight many of the swimmers. I know Chuck is going to be brutal, and I want to train now and minimize the number of attempts that are required. In his gym, I save before all the trainers. Luckily, Steelix is fine taking care of them. I do need to head back to the Pokemon Center to heal though. This is the curse of having a slow Pokemon in a versus challenge. Way more time spent healing. Chuck opens with Primeape. It knows Karate Chop, but my defense stat makes that pretty pathetic. However, Poliwrath is a fairly balanced Pokemon. It knows Mind Reader, which negates any possible Mudslap randomness that could help me win. Also, Surf is super effective, and it'll wash away my dirty boy Steelix because his special defense is honestly not the greatest. I tried this fight 4 times at this level, and it honestly just felt worse and worse. I need to train more. At level 38, I come back, and I've trained so that I have just enough experience from Primeape to level up. That will give Steelix an additional small boost against Poliwrath, without having to grind against wild Pokemon too much longer. First turn, I outspeed. This is the level that I needed. It misses Hypnosis, and I land Dig, which does half damage. Next, it goes for Mind Reader, but this won't actually ensure that Hypnosis hits, because the AI can always miss status moves. But it will allow it to land a hit, even if Steelix is underground during Dig. So I choose Headbutt instead. This makes Poliwrath flinch, and with that, Steelix has finished it off. Jasmine is next. I always say she's the best gym leader, but this isn't the case today. Mudslap for the Magnemites and Dig for the Steelix. The most important thing about this fight is that she gives me Iron Tail. This is Steelix's only stab steel move that it can learn. Unfortunately, it has only 75% accuracy, but it does have 100 base power, so it's something that I can't say no to. I still have Dig if I want something that is more consistent. At the Lake of Rage, I figure out a new ordering. I can just go off to the side and grab the rare candy and the TM for hidden power. Then, since I've discovered the location, I can fly back and arrive at the front of the lake. This lets me skip some grass and a trainer or two. Plus, I was gonna head up here anyways to grab the rare candy later on. Let's skip discussing the rocket plot lines. This portion of Johto is honestly the most boring part of the entire video making process for me. It's just spam any move you want against weak Coughings and Rattatas. Price is next. He's so bad. Iron Tail does its awful accuracy thing and misses a bunch, but he still is unable to do hardly any damage to Steelix. Also, his Pillow-Swine always loves to use Fury Attack. Why? It's so bad. Faulkner should take his place as the 7th gym. Imagine having him with a team of 3 to 4 Pokemon, all with Mud Slap. That would be seriously rage-inducing. In terms of difficulty, the rival in Generation 2 feels like the opposite of the rival in Kanto. In these games, he seems to get worse as the game progresses, but in Kanto, Butt seems to just get stronger and stronger. Steelix takes some damage here from Quilava, but it's nothing to worry about. After the rockets are gone, I head over to the department store and pick up the TM for return. If you examine my current moveset, you'll see that I don't really have anything that is gonna threaten Kingdra. Claire opens with Dragonair. I decide to use Iron Tail to ensure that I can knock it out, but I miss twice, and it does a lot of damage to me with Surf. Then Kingdra comes out and immediately knocks Steelix out. I was thinking that Return would be useful against Kingdra, and I could defeat the Dragonairs with Iron Tail, but it looks like Return spam is just what I need to do. The higher accuracy is just great. Kingdra comes out again and it goes for Smokescreen. Return hits it and does over half damage. Please don't let Smokescreen ruin this for Steelix. I land another Return and Kingdra goes down. The next Dragonair trolls me for a while and I miss, and it slowly chips away at me with Dragon Breath, but then it faints and the final one is a one-hit. Steelix finishes the fight with 69 hit points. Nice. And a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 29 seconds. It's Scizor's turn. Since I completed the lighthouse before Morty, I can just walk back to Olivine and surf across the sea. In Chuck's gym, I save because the tag team trainers, but Scizor makes quick work of them. I do need to heal up at the Pokemon Center before taking Chuck on though, so Scizor isn't gaining as much time on Steelix as I thought it would. Chuck opens with Primeape. I take it down with 2 headbutts and move on to Poliwrath. As I knocked it out, I realized that I should have just set up Fury Cutter here. It would have been way better against the Poliwrath, especially when it was fully set up. So that could have gone worse because I used Headbutt, but I ended up getting the job done anyways. I decide to skip Jasmine. Scizor has no moves that can come even close to knocking Steelix out. I want more levels before I attempt her. I head on to the Lake of Rage where I do my new routing. Then Gyarados messes me up for a bit. When I purchase Great Balls to catch Krabby in Olivine City, I should really pick up more. I've been skimping there and I pay a price here. Price is a joke as always. Water resists steel attacks, so I headbutt the seal down. I use Metal Claw for neutral damage on the Dugong and get super effective damage against the Pillow-Swine. I can't delay the inevitable any longer. Jasmine is next. No matter how you cut it, this fight isn't happening. The issue is that Scizor doesn't have the speed or damage output required to take care of the Magnemites. They get paralysis off, and from there things get really dirty. The only option is training. Scizor learns Sword Stance at level 42, and I think this might be what I need to get past her. I come back and try to one-shot the Magnemite with Slash, since I think a critical hit would get the job done, but it doesn't work. Scizor gets paralyzed again. The fight against Steelix is annoying, but I manage to knock it out. However, she has 1 Magnemite left, and it comes out and one-shots Scizor with Thunderbolt. I tried this fight 3 more times, and each time the same result happened. I get paralyzed, I finish setting up, but I'm unable to knock out all of her Pokemon. I sometimes get past Steelix, but my health is too low and the final Magnemite knocks Scizor out. I head back out to sea to train again, and Scizor has actually defeated most of the trainers that have decent leveled Pokemon in Johto. So I end up having to battle wild Pokemon to level up a couple more times. At level 44, Scizor still can't knock the Magnemite out on the first turn, so I go into the Steelix fight paralyzed. I set up against it with Swords Dance, and it starts to hit Iron Tails, and then Paralysis prevents Scizor from moving. I get taken down to orange health, and then it misses Iron Tail, and this allows Scizor to knock it out. But I just don't have much health remaining for the final Magnemite. Thunderbolt zaps Scizor, but I survive with 2 hit points and strike back with Slash. Magnemite faints because of my +6 attack setup from Swords Dance. If any of her Pokemon had got slightly more favorable ranges, I would have lost there. Anyways, let's move on. The final rival in the underground is uneventful. Swords Dance makes Scizor shred. Oh, that's hard. Okay, I got this. Swords Dance makes Scizor shred through my enemies. He's got scissors for hands after all. I really missed an opportunity to name this guy Edward. All future Scizors will bear this name on this channel. After clearing the plotline, I grab Return. This could be helpful if my current moveset isn't up to the task of defeating Claire. She opens with Dragonair, and I set up 1 Swords Dance. Then Scizor gets paralyzed. This is just what's happening in these fights now, I guess. Alright. I decide to start attacking. I think I'm over-leveled enough to get through this fight. While each of her Pokemon outspeeds me because of paralysis, they don't do much damage because of my typing. Scizor sweeps through all of them with a single slash each and finishes the gym challenge with a time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 27 seconds. Here are the rare candies in Johto. If I grab all of these plus the 3 in Kanto, I'll have 11 in total before red. That means I only need to level up to level 89 in the absolute worst case scenario. Both Scizor and Steelix are going to pick all of these up, but I won't use them until I'm at red. I want to ensure that the late game leveling is as painless as possible. I'll take this time to just say that I really appreciate all of you. Since 2016, when I first made this channel, I've had the dream of making Pokemon content. And now, almost a year after I started regularly uploading, I'm able to continually dedicate some of my time to this channel. So, thanks so much for everyone who's watching and for everyone who supports me on Patreon. You're making my dream into a reality. In Victory Road, Steelix gets access to Earthquake, but loses to the rival due to bad confusion luck. Scizor has no problems with this fight, due to the power of Swords Dance. Here are my stats for both of the Pokemon and my learn sets for the League. I'm scared for Lance with Steelix because we really don't have particularly good moves to defeat his Pokemon. Our lack of speed is also likely going to be an issue. Scizor, on the other hand, seems well equipped to handle most of the League. So let's find out how these Pokemon do. By the way, I'm going to complete this league without saving in between league members, so I'm going to require these Pokemon to have a consistent run to be able to get past this and move on to Kanto. It's Scizor's turn first. Let's do this, Edward. Since Will is a Psychic type, I go for Fury Cutter. In retrospect, I should have just tried to sweep since the Xatu knows Confuse Ray. Either way, Scizor gets the job done after setting up a bit. Koga is next. Ariados is particularly weak offensively, so I can set up Swords Dance here fully. This cool Poison Spider is gonna set up a lot of double teams, but all I need is for 1 attack to hit and then I'll sweep the rest of his team. The oddly out of place Flying Grass type Venomoth is a 1-hit. Fortress survives because of its bulk, however it always seems to set up Spikes first turn, which is absolutely useless because I'm doing a solo playthrough. Koga is just really coasting after his promotion. Bruno's Hitmontop loves to use first turn Dig. That gives Scizor 2 turns of setup. After that, I can sweep his entire team. Slash for all the fighting types, and Metal Claw for the Onix at the end of the fight. Karen is the final member of the Elite Four. Umbreon is a tough choice. Knock it out quickly, or set up and get hit with Sand Attack over and over. I attempt to knock it out right away, but Slash does hardly more than 1/3 damage. I use Fury Cutter next, and it's even worse, despite doing super effective damage. I knock the Umbreon out, but I lost accuracy in the process. Next is the truly terrifying member of her team, Houndoom. It has a 4 times effective flamethrower. This is bad. Scizor faints. I obviously just need to set up here. Maybe in future playthroughs I should save Swift until this fight. My third attempt against the league is even smoother than the first. By the way, the second one ended with bad confusion luck against Umbreon. This time I set up on Umbreon twice. This costs me 2 stages of accuracy. When I finally use Slash, it hits and knocks the Umbreon out. Houndoom is next. I cross my fingers and use Slash. Scizor does have sand in its eyes, but they're robotic eyes, and it lands its attack and Houndoom faints. From here, the fight isn't even an issue. It takes longer than I'd like because my lower accuracy, but in the end, Scizor emerges victorious over the Elite Four. Lance is last. I'm scared for his Charizard and his last Dragonite, which knows Fire Blast. These two are gonna be tough. After setting up on Gyarados and knocking it out, Lance sends out Charizard. And to my surprise, Scizor outspeeds it and knocks it out with a critical hit. Against Dragonite, I switch into Metal Claw for a slightly higher power. However, it misses and Dragonite lands Fire Blast. Alright, I should have just used the 100% accuracy Slash. On my 4th attempt, I get back to Lance. The early portions of the league feel very consistent, outside of the occasional confusion misfortune. This time, I've replaced Slash with Return for the additional base power. I set up against Gyarados and knock it out. From here, I can outspeed all of Lance's Pokemon and knock them all out in a single hit. Scizor completes the league with a time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 9 seconds. Let's keep going. Scizor then accomplishes something that no other Pokemon has yet in one of my challenges. It defeats all 7 of the Kanto gym leaders without healing at a Pokemon Center. Erica really likes to drain my PP, so I use Ethers to restore it. But outside of these Ethers, I don't use a single healing item. Blaine almost knocks Scizor out, but it's dedicated to setting records, and it just hangs on. I heal for the first time before I attempt Blue. Pidgeotto won't be able to do much to Scizor, so I decide to set up and then... So Whirlwind is actually the equivalent of a one-hit knockout with my current challenge rules? I didn't think about that. Because I'm not allowed to use any other Pokemon in battle, I'm actually going to have to reset here. Maybe I should deposit my HM Pokemon before this fight in the future. On my next fight, I set up 1 turn of Swords Dance and then knock the Pidgeotto out. Arcanine comes out next. The AI selects the Pokemon it knows are going to be strong against your current battler, by the way. Scizor one-hits it. Because the fire Pokemon is gone, I speed through the rest of the fight and defeat him. Red is Scizor's final challenge. I'm clocking in at the lowest time yet. I think Scizor is going to be my fastest time through Johto. Red opens with Pikachu. What I notice right away is that Pikachu is doing too much damage. Luckily for me, Venusaur comes out next, because Red really wants to set up Sunny Day for Charizard. I take this opportunity to heal, and ensure that I can make it to Charizard with green health. However, the issue is that Charizard can just one-shot Scizor because it outspeeds. I use all of my rare candies immediately. At level 78, I still use the fight against Pikachu to set up 3 Swords Dances. Venusaur is next, and I genuinely don't know what I was doing here. Fury Cutter into Swords Dance 2 times and then return. Just doesn't make any sense. Charizard is next, and at level 78 I can outspeed it and land a return, which knocks it out. Snorlax is Red's next choice. I go for return again, and it's also a one-hit. Because of how Snorlax went, Blastoise is a foregone conclusion now. But Espeon isn't. It still outspeeds Scizor and lands Psychic. I survive and use Return, which gets the job done. At level 78, it defeated Red and achieved the best time yet on my channel through a Generation 2 game. Well done, Scizor. So, can Steelix beat it? Well, the answer is no, it really can't. It's much worse than I anticipated. Initially looking at the stats and the learn sets, I thought Steelix would have a lot going for it. No 4 times weakness and higher base power moves, with a more diverse and useful group of typings. But what really holds it back is lack of speed. I played through the league portion of this challenge once, and wasted upwards of an hour trying to train and reattempt at every couple of levels. Because I thought I was playing so awfully, I went back and reshot footage for the entire Steelix portion of this run. There is a reason that I knew to train before Faulkner and to overlevel for the rival in Azalea Town. In my original playthrough, I lost to Faulkner 3 times and the rival in Azalea Town 7 times, so repeating this run really allowed me to add a lot of consistency to those fights. The truly sad thing for Steelix is that all of the Elite 4 members are easy to defeat in the level range of 50 to 60. We're basically exclusively being walled by Lance. However, Lance has Charizard and Dragonite, both of which outspeed and have fire moves, which are just devastating to Steelix. Working in our favor, Gyarados does come out first, and it makes this situation significantly better for us by setting up Rain Dance. Now, Fire's power is halved. While this has its advantages, it also means that Gyarados can hit Steelix with a super effective water move that is powered up by Rain Dance. Moving on with some damage, the advantage that Rain provides against Charizard isn't enough. This fight is very hard, like my Steelix, because it's a Steel Snake. Moving on. Steelix does learn the Defense Curl and Rollout combo, but because its speed is so low, it won't be able to land attacks before taking lethal damage. Also, because of how much damage we sustain from attacks, Rest won't help, and Protect can only delay the inevitable. My level up learn set also doesn't provide access to anything that can help. The only solution here is to overlevel. I know I recorded the league time already, but I'm gonna train. And I'm gonna be training for a while, because I need to save all my rare candies for Red. I can make short work of the league now at level 67, and I arrive at Lance. I haven't overleveled too much, and I know this because I'm 2-hitting the Gyarados. This is the perfect scenario. I need it to survive and set up Rain Dance so that Charizard will do half damage. I survive the inevitable flamethrower from it and use Return. But it just isn't dealing enough damage. However, when Rain's on my side, I survive the next hit as well. The Dragonite with Fire Blast is next. Iron Tail almost knocks it out, and it locks itself into Outrage. That gives me the space I need to heal and take it out. From here, the final 2 Dragonites aren't an issue, and Iron Tail is great against Aerodactyl. Steelix finishes the league at 2 hours, 34 minutes, and 2 seconds. The timer is a grim sign that Steelix has already lost this versus race in terms of time. The gyms in Kanto are easy because my Steelix is rock hard. Well, it's steel actually, and that's way harder than rock. It also has no problems getting a bit dirty. That's because it's a ground type and it knows Earthquake. It's basically dirt type after all. Where am I going with this? Okay, let's get back on track. My Steelix doesn't have quite the PP required to complete the same gym leader sweep that Scizor pulled off earlier. Sabrina, Erica, and Janine combined just deplete my PP too much. If only I had access to some PP ups. Next, Blue's Gyarados gets me down to orange health with Hydro Pump, and that doesn't set up Steelix well for the Executor that comes out next. However, it misses Egg Bomb, and that allows Steelix to knock it out. Against Alakazam, I can heal up. It feels strange saying that after playing Generation 1 so much. This thing is such a threat in those games. Reflect is still on the field, and this makes Rhydon a 2-hit. Finally, Arcanine is last. It outspeeds because of course it does, and Steelix survives and finishes it off with Earthquake. Red is last. I use all of my rare candies immediately. I did play the red fight previously, and Steelix just wasn't able to get it done in the 70s. Pikachu misses with Charm, and Steelix knocks it out with Earthquake. That's the best possible first turn. Espeon is next. It sets up Reflect and tanks Earthquake really well. Psychic doesn't do much damage, and my second Earthquake knocks it out. Venusaur is next, and that's because he prioritizes setting up Sunny Day before the Charizard comes out. Reflect prevents Steelix from doing much damage, and Solar Beam is great against us. I realized too late and it knocks me out. Over many additional fights, I realized that defeating Charizard isn't possible. With or without Sunny Day, it's just doing too much damage. I tried a curse strategy during this, but lowering my speed messes with Steelix's chance against both Blastoise and Snorlax, who I get to in a couple rare fights. They both defeat me by simply outspeeding and landing a single attack. Now I'm level 95 and I'm still struggling with this fight, but there is still another moveset that I haven't explored. Curse, Return, Protect, and Rest. I'm gonna stall. The reason this works is that Venusaur has limited PP. See, it's all about the PP. The more, the better. 10 Solar Beam, 5 Sunny Day, 5 Giga Drain, and 5 Synthesis. When defeating Pikachu and Espeon, it's important not to set up Curse. This is so Steelix can outspeed Venusaur and get rests off before it uses a one-turn Solar Beam after Sunny Day is on the field. Even this is tense. If it lands a critical hit at the wrong time, Steelix can faint. You might also notice that I'm playing slower than usual. I'm taking the time to think through every move and make safe choices. I keep track of PP in my mind while I'm doing this. That allows me to time my curses when Venusaur begins to use Synthesis at max health. I get to heal one final time and then take only one turn of damage from Struggle before knocking Venusaur out. Moment of truth. Charizard uses Flamethrower, and it takes Steelix all the way into orange health. Now, I can knock it out, so the real question is, can I survive Blastoise's first hit with Surf? Come on, Steelix, you can do it. It survives with 20 hit points and lands Return, which knocks Blastoise out. Against Venusaur, I made the choice to set up fully with Curse, and that means my speed is complete garbage. Snorlax is gonna move first. I misplay and use Protect accidentally. I should have just gone for the kill. It uses Amnesia instead of attacking. That was my chance. Next turn, it uses Body Slam. Steelix survives, but becomes paralyzed, and this prevents it from using Rest. Snorlax again uses Body Slam, and Steelix survives with 4 hit points. Then I get my Rest off, and Steelix heals up to full health. I wake up and use Return, which causes Snorlax to faint. Steelix did it at level 95 with a time of 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 31 seconds. Of the 4 most recent Pokemon that I've gone through Johto with, Steelix got the worst time, and it honestly felt like the toughest run. Here's the splits from the entire race. We can crown our winner. It's Scizor. Its typing, speed, and access to Sword Stance makes it an uncontested victor. It won all of the points. If you want an offensive powerhouse on your team for Johto, this thing is a great option, provided you're willing to put in the effort to get a metal coat, that is. My only argument for having Steelix around is that it looks really cool. I love its design. However, in Johto it felt significantly weaker than Scizor, facing potential issues at Faulkner, the second rival, Morty, Chuck, Lance, and Red. Today, a bug wins. That feels good because I'm a bug trainer after all. I only have 2 more Generation 2 bugs left for solo runs. Yanma is coming soon, and Pineco or Fortress will happen in the near-ish future. By the way, I read every single comment, so I heard everyone on my Stantler video asking for a Girafarig playthrough. I'm working on it, and with a little luck, it will arrive sometime in early July. If you enjoy my content, like, subscribe, ring the chime echo, and share with a friend. If you want to go the extra mile in supporting the creation of this content, consider becoming a Patreon. Link is in the description. If you've made it this far, you're incredible. I'll see you in my next video.